Hello, friends and neighbors. Glad you stopped by again today for Terrific Tuesday. I'm going to do a little bit different on our Bible. Uh, I guess you'd say our Bible lesson video today. You know, last weekend here in Texas, that's the weekend we set aside to celebrate daylight savings time. That means we move our clocks up an hour. That's always been a miserable weekend for me because I feel like I've lost an hour's sleep, but I don't gain it back till next fall when we go back to normal time. And I don't normally let this video cover what the Bible lesson is under Bible time, but it just worked out that way this week. So y'all forgive me for that if you would. I'd like to go to Daniel chapter 7 because every time I change the clock up an hour for daylight savings time, I think of this verse here that I'm going to get to. Daniel chapter 7, verse 23 begins, "Thus he said," this is Gabriel explaining the future, according to Daniel's vision. "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces." Now we know this is the fourth beast. We know this becomes what's known as the Antichrist, Satan personified, if you will, the son of perdition. And then verse 24 says, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom," that means there's going to be 10 nations, and each nation having a ruler. "And the 10 horns of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them." This is talking about the Antichrist. "And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." Now notice verse 25. "And he shall speak great words against the Most High," which is God, "and shall wear out the saints of the Most High." These are the redeemed people who are alive at that time. And notice this, okay, "and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time." And then verse 26, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it to the end." Now, what I always do at daylight savings time, I think of that verse 25 where this rising Antichrist who will rule Europe and most people of the world will follow him. He will think to change times and laws. And of course, he's probably not talking about daylight savings time here, but he will cause a lot of confusion when he changes times and laws. And to me, when we go to daylight savings time, that causes a lot of confusion. It's always on, we say Saturday night, but it's really Sunday morning at 2 o'clock. And to me, that messes up the Lord's Day, the first day of the week, the day that Jesus Christ came forth from that tomb. And most redeemed people, I know there's always exceptions, but most redeemed people do worship on the Lord's Day because the book of Acts and then some of Paul's letters indicate that the church began to worship on the first day of the week, which was the day of the resurrection, which is known as the Lord's Day. It messes up services, worship services on the Lord's Day when people go to their local church. And I've even known of some churches that do not change their worship time to start daylight savings time. They leave it like it is. And then by the next week, when everybody's had a chance to get used to the new time, then they start observing daylight savings time. But I know when I was pastor of churches, I noticed on that first morning of daylight savings time, people would come in, you could tell they were kind of sleepy because they lost that hour of sleep. I guess some people do actually set up to 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning and move their clocks forward. I don't know. I never did. I always moved mine forward on Saturday night before I went to bed. And of course, I've got clocks now that automatically reset themselves, and of course, computers and tablets and so forth, they automatically reset themselves. But anyway, I just wanted to get over how I always think about that verse where the Antichrist changes times and laws. And I'm not saying that the people here in this country that came up with daylight saving time or the Antichrist or anything like that, because they changed the times. But it's always, this first weekend of daylight savings time is always hard on me because, I always get up early anyway, and I've lost an hour of sleep, and I don't like that. It seems like I'm sleepy till next fall when we get to move the clocks back to their original time. And I guess the point I'm trying to make here is anytime we as a people start messing with what God has created, whether it be time, gender, whatever it might be, marriage, anything like that, anytime we start messing with God's creation, it usually causes confusion. It usually causes heartache. It causes disruption and loss of peace and comfort and everything. So I really think, as a preacher of the gospel, as a redeemed saint of Jesus Christ, born again, I really believe it's better for us to leave things like God created them to be. We know He created days, 24 hours, and then we've got weeks, months, years, and so forth, and decades. So these all tie in to this original time that God set for His creation. And we know that, the book of Genesis talks about the creation. And some people say a day is 1,000 years and so forth and so on. But I think God purposely let us know His creation was a literal 7 days because He tells us about talking about the end of the day, the beginning of the day, the end of the day, and it coincides with the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun and so forth. The evening and the morning of the first day, the evening and morning of the second day. So I really believe that God let us know that this creation was 6 literal days. And then the seventh day was the Sabbath, a day of rest, because it said God rested on that day. So anyway, I just kind of want to throw that in, kind of tied in with this past weekend time change. And I just wanted you to know why I always think about Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, where the Antichrist comes in and changes times and laws. Y'all enjoy your terrific Tuesday. Enjoy the day. Hope you enjoy the extra length of the daylight hours, which is not anymore, but still it seems like it's more because it gives us a later sundown and a later falling of night. And some people that work outside, they can get more work done and everything. Of course, my dear wife Wanda used to complain because she used to say, yeah, but that daylight savings time, when moving the hour up, those little kids out there, they have to stand in the dark now waiting on the school bus because of time change. Of course, being a mom, it's natural she's going to be concerned about those kiddos, her own and all those other kiddos out there. There's just something about mothers that just really have it in their heart to be protective and for those kiddos. Anyway, that's all for today. I just wanted to kind of throw that in, coinciding with our daylight savings time and this verse of Daniel 7:25 that always comes to my mind. Y'all have a great day out there, folks. A great week, and hopefully you'll attend your local church. If you have service on Wednesday nights, you'll go, and definitely attend next Sunday morning, Lord's Day, to enjoy Sunday school and the preaching hour and the singing and the praising of God because He is worthy to be praised. He is definitely worthy to be praised. And so we need to give Him our praise and thanksgiving. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless each and every one of you. Talk to you later. Bye bye.